Welcome back to Cautiously Optimistic, Season 2, Episode 2. I am joined again by Liam. Liam, you were a busy man the last 2 days now in terms of the football.
Yeah, I've got around, but yeah, back to LOI now. So looking forward to this week's set of fixtures. Really,
Absolutely.
You?
All good. No, yeah, can't complain. Arsenal Brentford, you're out, weren't you? How was that?
Yeah, it was good as an Arsenal fan. It was good, yeah. But then obviously, I started on Friday. Went to Shells, your team Shells. Saw them.
Yeah.
Played. Then I went to London for the day, and then Stamford Bridge. Then obviously, given the concert was postponed. So yeah, now I'm back, ready to go.
Yeah, incognito last night. Or was last night? Yeah, last night. Yeah. We'll touch on the Shells game. Unfortunately, we'll touch on it later on in the show. Not the best start, but we move. I'm wearing a nice retro shirt picked up. Actually arrived the day before the season started. I thought it'd be a good omen for the new season, but didn't turn out to be the case. But sure, look back at it this week. Tough start for Damien Duff, though. That's the highlight of the show. Definitely a tough start for him. A bit of a, well, I'm not sure if you call it a reality check. I think he knew how difficult it was going to be coming into the job, but we will touch on that later on. Guys, if you can drop a like on the stream, it would be much appreciated. If you can hit around that 50 like mark, I think we nearly got it last week, or we got it last week, would be much appreciated. And if you can subscribe, that would be superb as well. All your support is genuine. You really appreciate it. I think we're closing in on the 3K mark as well. So yeah, getting there. Nice little landmark, whatever that word is, can't think of that top of my head, whatever to hit, so that would be great. But yeah, we'll jump straight into looking at game week 1. Obviously a bit of a shame, Harps against Drogheda was postponed, and we also had Sligo Rovers against Bohemians that were postponed as well. So 2 less games to chat about in the Premier Division. Unfortunately, I was actually looking forward to both of those games as well. So it makes looking at game week 2 even more difficult, doesn't it? Because you don't know what to expect from those 4 teams.
Yeah, no, I agree. Obviously, and we know probably a few fans that made the trip to Sligo, and they still had a good weekend, it seems, so it wasn't too bad. It is making things very difficult, though, for the second game week, kind of judging, because you don't really know what teams are going to play well, and you really don't know, because you don't really see pre-season either. So it's going to be an interesting week on the predictions, I think.
100%, yeah. And I think a lot of teams are kind of feeling each other out still as well. I could see, just my own point of view, with Shells, like a lot of new players playing together, kind of gelling together week by week. It is going to take time for a couple of different teams to get going. Pretend the match at the Carlisle was postponed too, please, Jesus Christ, yeah. Our own Soccer was at that, and that was Cork put 6 past Bray, wasn't it? Yeah, not great from a Braves fan's perspective. Poor start to the campaign, but yeah, really good start for Cork. But we'll jump into the Premier Division first. We'll start off at Oriel Park, where Dundalk played host to Derry City. That was, of course, a 2-2 draw. Interesting one. This was a really interesting one because obviously Stephen O'Donnell going in at Dundalk, it didn't look like they had the best of pre-seasons. A couple of players still trying to kind of gel together, things like that. And whereas Derry coming into the season off a huge high, obviously bringing in the likes of Michael Duffy, your Patrick McElhenney's, really high quality players brought in, a lot of money spent in the window. Strangely enough, though, I don't think Michael Duffy was involved at all in the game. I'm not sure if that was an injury, something on those lines. And Patrick McElhenney came off the bench in the 62nd minute. So definitely 2 blows for Derry not starting two of their main signings, really, but they did get a 2-2 draw in the end. What did you think of that result? Were you kind of surprised by that, or was a draw kind of fair enough?
As I said last week, I kind of fancied Derry this season, so I was a bit taken back that they only got the point at Dundalk. Now, from what I did kind of hear from fans and everything like that, it was that Dundalk, like their goals they conceded were very soft, and if silly errors and everything like that. So they might take time really to kind of get their rhythm and get going under the new manager. But I expected more from Derry, really, given the signings they've made. But probably not a bad start, really, coming into the start of a season, getting a draw, kind of seeing how the land lies. Both teams will probably look to progress and kind of build on that for next week.
Yeah, and it's the case of, I think, for Derry as well. Like they've a lot of new players coming in as well, and it's probably going to Oriel won't be an easy trip for any team as well this season, realistically as well. Stephen Donald will make them a really, really hard team to beat. So at least I think obviously they went 2-1 down in the 74th minute to kind of 15 minutes to go. You can get a bit panicky. You can try and throw things throw the kitchen sink at it, and it might not work out. Whereas they kind of stayed calm enough, got their goal through Jamie McGonigal, who could be a shout for top goal scorer this season. Maybe one that you wouldn't expect it to start. I would have expected to start. Maybe it's hard to know. Obviously, Matty Smith coming in as well, how that was going to affect maybe his game time and stuff like that. So, but I think Jamie McGonigal, yeah, scoring a goal, get him off the mark for the season. I think it was only a good thing for Derry. And yeah, I think both sides probably shake hands on a point in that one. I think it's not a terrible point for either side, and they'll both be happy enough not to have lost it, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I agree. Who was the young fella from Scotland as well got on the score sheet for Dundalk, so it's probably
Stephen Bradley, is it? I think
that's your man.
So yeah. So it's definitely good. I think Mark Conley, I think, is new signed there as well. So good for Dundalk to get a couple of new lads on the score sheet for 100% for just for their confidence and trying to kind of acclimatise to the league. It's definitely a good start for them. Interesting game. We'll be touching on them later on, but they've got a really tough trip this weekend, so that's going to be a tough test for O'Donnell's side. But we will move on to before we move on, we'll touch on who predicted what for this game. So Griff and Socko were the only ones who got this right in terms of predictions. They both went for the draw here, and Ross, Tig, and Liam all went for an away win. I think I listened to you too much for that one. You're raving out there. You're raving out there. I think I listened to your hype too much.
Oh, stop. I'm disappointed at Derry. I thought they'd get all 3 points personally, but I'm sure they'll build on it.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Looking back at it, I was thinking, what did I do a draw there? Like, obviously, it's going to be a draw. I hate looking back, but yeah.
And then you're like, I need to do it for content as well.
So Griff and Socko off the mark on the predictions table. Next up, we have Shamrock Rovers, who played host to UCD, and I think all of us went, in terms of prediction wise, went for a Shamrock Rovers win here. Comfortable victory, and it was nothing. You wouldn't expect anything else, would you? Really?
I kind of expected that there'd be more goals in it personally, but UCD actually put up a good fight, really. They're in the game for a large amount of it as well. They had a few chances as well. And then obviously Rovers just shared the goals around, and obviously that the experience probably kicked in a lot. UCD were fairly impressive now. I definitely didn't think they'd put it up to them as much as they did, really. It was a good start for UCD, given that they did lose 3-0, but you're going away to the champions, so
it's definitely not a game that you come up as a UCD young side. You want to try and build a little bit of confidence at the start of the season. It's just not the game you want to kick off your campaign at all, really, is it? I think they've got a much better game this weekend if they're at home to Finn Harps. So that's more of definitely one of those games where if they're going to try and stay up this season, they're the type of games where you look to be getting points. Going to Tala, you've no chance, really. Like, obviously they're a young side, so it's going to be very, very difficult. And as the weeks go on, if they keep kind of dropping points and losing games, that's where the heads start to drop. They're going to be very enthusiastic first day of the season. Heads might start to drop, things like that, and you hope they can try and stick around for in the kind of battle for as long as they can. But that's the thing, they could shock a few. Like, it's hard to know where like if they beat Finn Harps this weekend and they can go on a bit of a run, then like they've a couple of really, really good players. Obviously your Liam Kerrigans and your Colin Whelans, and that's what I name in a few. I think Sam Todd is very, very good as well at the back. So I think UCD, I think everyone wrote them off at the start of the season, so it's a tricky one. And I still do think they will finish 10th, but maybe it won't be by as much as, I don't. It's hard to know.
It's so hard to know, especially at this such early stage of a season. Like, obviously they still have, as you said, Liam Kerrigan, Colin Whelan. Just really depends on keeping them in form, and
I think they're going to be gone in the summer as well, though.
That's what I mean. That was coming on to how long are they going to stick around? Really, how long until a big club kind of comes in, or even if they go abroad, because they are talented. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
sure. I think they're both in the under-21 setup, aren't they? I think.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So like they'll be snapped up. I think Rovers feels like the natural move for them. I think Liam Scales, wasn't he UCD to Rovers? It feels
Yeah.
like a natural kind of good progression for players, and I think Ferizaj did the same, didn't he? Yeah, I think it's possibly like you can see both of them going to Rovers. Not that they need them at all, but you can just see it happening. Like Jack Byrne getting 2 assists in his first game back will be a huge boost for Shamrock Rovers as well.
Yeah, no, I've backed him for a player of the season.
Yeah,
Like, so it's just a no-brainer. He just really shouldn't be in the league though. Like, the quality he has is there. But yeah, definitely a good boost for him personally. Hopefully he can just continue his form, like, and not get injured, because he was great for Rovers until he did get that injury, and then he went obviously over to Applewell, and things didn't go too well. But I'd like to see him back in the Ireland squad if he can keep up his form. Now I know Kenny might look like Kenny will pick him if he's in form and he's fit. You know what I mean? He's not afraid to bring someone from League of Ireland into the senior squad. So yeah, hopefully he can keep up his performances.
100%.
What do you think?
Yeah. I think there's definitely a case for it. He's done it before. There's no reason to say why he couldn't do it again. I do think it might be more difficult for him this time around. Obviously, going to Applewell, lost some time there in his career. Like, it's kind of crucial years. He's kind of in his prime, really, isn't he? I think, what is he, 25, 26? So he's in that kind of age where he needs to be playing football all the time. And obviously, getting back to Rovers, it's going to be a challenge. I think there is a lot more competition at Irish level now. There's a lot of really talented players coming through. Obviously, your Jason Knight's now coming through. Conor Coventry's been playing really well. We might touch on him later on in the video. There's a lot of really, really good options coming through in midfield. And I think it's going to get more and more difficult for Jack to make that impact on an international scene. It's going to be tough. I really hope it's always such a big boost when League of Ireland players get called into the Ireland squad. It's a huge boost for the whole league. But I think it's a really, really tough ask for him to do it. We saw Mandrew last year getting called in briefly and stuff, but yeah, it's tough. I think possibly Kenny's going to look towards maybe those Championship and League One midfielders, possibly.
Yeah, it's very hard as well. Like, I can't see Mandrew. Mandrew's been in great form, but just can't see him breaking into the Irish setup, as you said. Like, we have so many midfielders, really, just young midfielders you just touched on there, that are probably that extra step kind of ahead in the process, given they're playing for English clubs or UK clubs. So yeah, it should be.
Even Jamie McGrath kind of similar enough position to Jack Byrne as well, wouldn't he kind of be as well? Like, those types of players as well. Like, he's kind of made his breakthrough in international scene, and he's done well actually for Ireland as well. Obviously, an assist against Portugal, things like that as well. He's impressed a lot. So if he can get kind of regular game time at Wigan, you'd imagine that he'd be kind of higher in the pecking order than a Jack Byrne, you'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you could even bring in Jack Byrne maybe in friendlies, kind of just get him around the place, kind of get him around the dressing room. But yeah, I even forgot there, Jamie McGrath. Yeah, he'd be miles ahead of the pecking order, really. But like, then you have like Jeff Hendrick and stuff coming near to the end of their career. Like, Jeff Hendrick's now QPR. Like, you know what I mean? Is he going to really rip up the trees? You know what I mean? Kind of, is he like? Yeah, I don't know. That's definitely an interesting debate one, really, for if Jack Byrne's good enough to get back in. But that's definitely his target, though. You know what I mean? Come back to Shamrock Rovers, get back in the Irish setup.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's his goal.
A big one. Yeah, for sure. A big one probably is if you can impress on the European nights is probably a big one as well. That's usually where League of Ireland players can kind of make their big statements and their kind of those highlight nights. Like Daryl Horgan broke onto the scene. I think it was a Zenit away. Players like that, Jack Byrne, and it's those big nights. I remember it was in Tala, he scored a couple of goals on their route to on one of their European journeys there 2 seasons ago, whatever it was. So yeah, I think those are the nights where you can really stand out in front of the Stephen Kenny, who's in the crowd, maybe something like that. That's when you can really lay down a marker. But yeah, great to see from a Rovers perspective that obviously Byrne getting 2 goal contributions, and Mandrew and Graham Burke also getting on the score sheet. Good to see. I think, did we say last week that when we were talking about top goal scorers, that Shamrock Rovers are great for kind of spreading the goals around. They won't really have like the top goal scorer in the league, and you can already see that already. Burke at 1, Mandrew at 1, Byrne with 2 assists. You can already see the spread of the goals.
Yeah, they just have so much quality, really, that they can kind of share the goals around, score from anything as well. And especially when you have Jack Byrne kind of pulling the strings, he can just kind of dead ball, even a pass, anything really, he can just kind of pick out. And then Did you see Mandrew's goal? The header was quality.
Yeah,
Like
quality header.
he's small enough, fella, but that was a
Yeah,
quality header, I thought.
outrageous. And I thought thing is like, was Shamrock Rovers bench the best bench in League of Ireland history? So we had Sean Gannon, Barry Cotter, Ronan Finn, Aaron Green, Graham Burke, Richard Towell, Leon Poles, Chris McCann, and Idomo Umaku. Is that like the best LOI bench of all time? It probably is. Like, it has to be up there, because that's not even like a rotated side either. Like, that's like a strong side playing and a strong bench. Like,
yeah, they really remind me now of like the Irish Man City. Just the quality and depth that they have is ridiculous. Like, they're kind of bringing, even if they're bringing on a player, it's like for like, really. And then obviously the fact they have, yeah, it's just the quality they have there is unbelievable.
Insane. It's insane. Even like, and then you have like your Imaku's coming through from the academy as well. Like, you've really good, talented youngsters coming into the side, and yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They're after like league titles. There's Irish internationals on the bench. Like, it's insane. It's insane. But yeah, Shamrock Rovers looking very, very strong, and it's going to take a lot to stop them, I think, this season. But a team that potentially could was a team that went to Talca Park on Friday night. In terms, before we go into the game, obviously, Liam, you were there. Do you want to talk us through maybe the atmosphere leading into the match and what that was kind of like?
So yeah, actually, it was my first time in Talca Park for a few years. And obviously, I parked a bit away because I was like, oh, grand. Because I could actually hear it where I parked. I was like, oh, grand. The noise was like, must be only up the road. Yeah. So I parked about 15-minute walk away, and I could hear the crowd from like 15 minutes away. I was like, this can't be it. I was like, oh, I must be coming up with Talca here. But and it was great. Like, it was a great atmosphere. The one thing I was a bit disappointed with the Shells fans were, because I was sitting with the Shells fans. Come the end of the game, there's a few hesitant fans. They're a bit like, oh, it's going to be a long season. And one comment that actually I had a bit of a laugh at, and I said to Socko the last few days, was that a few fans were like, oh, Ian Morris is a better manager than Duff and everything, which is like, it's one game, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it'll take a while, even for Duff to get kind of his feel for it and everything. I was fairly though impressed with first few moments of the game. Obviously, the crowd were behind Shells. They obviously had that goal disallowed. They did a few things right at stages, but Pats were just had a lot more quality. And Dara Burns' goal, quality play. He was unbelievable.
Yeah, and that was a momentum one, wasn't it? That, because Shells up to that point were probably on top, and the momentum completely switched after that.
Yeah, I agree. And I know we touched on it briefly during the week as well. Moylan, great. What a performance from him, especially like coming from Bowes, being on loan at Wexford, not even featuring for Bowes at all last season, to come into Shells and kind of put that performance against the FAI Cup winners was very impressive, because I'd say he was the best player for Shells. I was actually very impressed with Dan Carr as well. He's few moments where he kind of took the ball in, beat few players, quick feet, like, you know what I mean? It was they've a lot like I wouldn't be too disheartened as a Shells fan, really. I think they will come good. They have a lot of changes in the side. So it'll take time to click, but especially with Damien Duff, I do think Damien Duff made a few errors though, like with his substitutions and everything. The game was kind of going, and then he brought on like Jordan McAnuff and the likes. He could have done them a bit earlier, maybe when it was 1-0 or so. But it's a learning experience really for Duff. So I wouldn't be too disheartened as a Shells fan. But what do you make of it?
Yeah, listen, I think first, I'm looking at Darren Burns scored in the 98th minute. I think the first 15-20 minutes we were the better side. Obviously, newly promoted side, great atmosphere. You're going to be feeling good and that you're going to be on top. But I thought we started really, really well. Obviously, the Darren Burns goal, he's just a special talent. There's not an awful lot you can do about that, really. Like, he's playing in the League of Ireland, but he won't be for long. Like, he's special. He's unbelievable. And that goal just epitomizes him. Like, is it 20 yards out, top corner? Like, there's not much you can do about it, really. Like, you can't really pick any faults there. The keeper couldn't do much to defense. Like, 20 yards out, you don't really expect him to be scoring from there. Just a special talent, and that really swung the game. And another moment that swung the game, looking here 25 minutes in, obviously Shane Griffin went off injured, and Cameron Ledwidge came on for him, and I thought he was really poor. I thought Ledwidge was poor now, to be honest. for the second goal in particular, Mark Doyle running through and Leverage is kind of coming across, and instead of like closing him down, he kind of lets him shoot really easily. I thought Ledwidge was poor when he came on. Obviously, I think it's his first game at the club. It might take some time. He's only a young lad as well, but yeah, I expect a bit more from him. He came back from Southampton. I thought he was going to be a really good signing, and I thought I was a little bit disappointed with him. At the back, the five at the back was interesting. I wasn't expecting to see that, but it was interesting, and it did. I don't know if I maybe would have liked to have seen him maybe adjust that, maybe 2-0 down or a bit quicker, kind of go like a bit more risky, go forward to back and try and throw an extra body into midfield and try and create a few more chances. I think Jordan McAneff actually coming on, I was impressed by him. He tried to get a few things going. I think he'll be a really good sign, and I think he's coming off the back of a bad injury, so it might take him a few games to get amongst it properly. But I was impressed by him when he came in. I felt he's definitely going to offer us something this season. I was impressed by Dervin in midfield and what's his name, Mark Coyle in midfield as well. I think both maybe a little bit nervous and kind of on the ball the odd time. There's a couple of sloppy passes and stuff, but they're both willing runners. They're both going to get stuck in. I think they could form a really good partnership for the rest of the season. It's going to take a little while. As I said, the whole team's going to take a while to gel, but I think there's definitely positives from a Shelbourne perspective. Definitely some positives to take, and there was some chances there. They did create some chances, and one of them goes in. It could be a different game, so it's definitely some positives. I think Lewis Webb in goal I wasn't overly impressed by him, to be honest. I think don't see why Brandon Clark isn't the number one for the time being, but I thought maybe for one or two of the goals. I think was it the second goal, he kind of got a hand to it, and it was kind of down, it was kind of straight at him nearly in a way. Like, it was a little bit disappointing, I thought, that goal. But yeah, I think Shells could struggle in the goal scoring department. I know you said Dan Card, good game, and he's not most prolific striker. I wouldn't say he's good. He's a willing runner. He'll hold the ball up well and stuff like that. But I don't think he's the most prolific goal scorer in the world. I know we've Sean Boyd to come back from suspension. But I think a prolific goal scorer could be a thing that Shells lack maybe this season potentially. So it's gonna be interesting. It'll be interesting. You have to give them time. But as you said, I thought Jack Moylan was superb. Looked really, really threatening. Got on the ball, tried to be kind of positive with it every time he got the ball. Obviously he's very young still and made some mistakes and maybe could have passed the ball the odd times, instead of shooting, things like that. But looks a really talented player, and definitely one to keep an eye on for this season. And I was very, very impressed by him, to be honest. I know you said you're impressed by him. Was it kind of a case of when you got in the ball, you kind of get out of your seat and stuff? You're kind of expecting something to happen. He's that type of player. Just like looking at him live.
Yeah, he was exciting, but yeah, it was. I actually like, as a Longford man now. I think your signings from Longford kind of were very impressive. Aaron O'Driscoll, I think, was very solid. I know he's lost 3-0, but he was very impressive, kind of pinging passes to feet, really, and kind of his distribution was very good.
He looks a bit lanky, doesn't he? He looks a bit lanky or something, doesn't he? Yeah, like once or twice I was a bit nervous with him or something. I think he'll get a lot better, like, as the games go on as well. But he looks a bit lanky or something. Like, he was very good at times. He played one great ball over the top to Moylan, actually.
Yeah.
To run onto, and he looked good at times, and I think he's great potential, but looked like a bit dodgy on the ball or something at times. I think it's because he's lanky, he's like that Rudiger type look or something. Did you get me?
Yeah, I was going to say he reminds you a lot of Rudiger. I've seen both of them recently. Yeah, that would probably be a very good comparison. But yeah, I'm sure like Pats were probably the experience and just the players they have kind of up a level. I have to say, Mark Doyle was diving a lot, to be fair. I wasn't too keen on that, but
shocking, carry on.
I
think he got booked for a dive, did he? I think
he did eventually. Yeah. I do think Pats will be up top 4 easily. You know what I mean?
Oh god, yeah.
Top 3 potentially.
Yeah.
The Pats were definitely the better side, but a disappointing result for Shells given their return.
3-0 was harsh. Definitely.
I agree. 3-0 was harsh. Like,
I think if that win, but 3-0 was harsh.
I think if that goal stood, I think it could have been a completely different game, because the fans would have got behind them the lot. So I think 3-0 was very harsh. But I think it'll be an interesting game now. Shell's going away to Drogheda this week. That kind of be really to see how they get on. Really, that's probably
more of a tell. That
could be the start of their season. Like, you don't really know, really.
Yeah, this Pats fan here saying Gits nutmeg, Chris Farris is nutmeg, and in his own box, like, and it was outrageous, and yeah, if you're looking at Billy King was very, very good in the night, I thought as well. The two Doyles up top are going to score a handful. They're going to score so many goals this season, and they're going to be a disaster for a lot of defenses. I think Owen Doyle. I think there's one stage you could have headed it maybe at goal, but you headed it back to like Mark Doyle. He's a class above Owen Doyle, I think. So I think there's no reason to suggest why Pats can't go on and really challenge for this title. James Abankwah at the back, like 17 years of age, and his legs are like he's an animal. Like he looks mid-20s. He looks like he's insane. 17 years old. Like I know I think 6 months loan or whatever, so he might be gone at some stage. But
he was very impressive. To be fair,
unbelievable talent.
So composed on the ball, and he was even like at 17 chatting to the keeper the whole time. Like he kind of I was blown away, to be honest, at the age he is and the fact he signed for Udinese and all that. But yeah, he's what a player. Definitely one for now and the future, even.
100%. And even looking at like Anto Breslin, buddy, like he's a really good left back. Like around that, there's not many weaknesses in this Pats team. I thought Jack Scott. I know Moylan had a great game, but I thought Jack Scott actually. It was a good battle all night, and he had a decent game. Jack's got up against Moylan. So yeah, I think Pats look very, very good. And, obviously brought in David Odomasu from Drogheda as well, so it's another goalkeeper option. So yeah, all over the pitch, they're very, very good strength and depth, and they'll definitely challenge for this title, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Like, kind of like the way their manager's bringing all the Drogheda boys as well. Bringing them all with them.
Yeah, Drogheda won't thank him, but good signings. Like, we'll move on to game week 2 anyway. Actually, no, sorry. Before we do, we'll go through the predictions table. So we have Griff on top. He has 3 points so far. Soccer was in second with 3 points. At least joint top. Tig mid-table with 2, and me and you at the bottom with 1 point.
Come back to us at the end. I'm pretty sure it was those two at the top last season anyway, and then it all stopped.
the lads that aren't showing up at the top. No justice.
We're here for content.
That's it. No, it's very early days, and there's no doubt about it. We'll be back ASAP. Shell's in trouble this year. Shut up, will you? Jump on the train, you prick. Shell's do well this season. I agree, 100%. Mid-table. James Abankwah, very good. Yeah, absolutely. Quality player. But yeah, so we'll jump into game week 2 anyway, starting off with a very interesting game, and we're allowed to change our predictions up to this point. And earlier on, I sent into the group a Harps win, but I'm starting to shift my mind, and I'm actually nearly fancying. I don't know if I'd say go as far as UCD. Yeah, like this is one where I'm thinking like I think UCD could get something from this.
Whoa, don't do this to me.
Yeah, I really struggle with this one. This is because Harps obviously didn't play either, so that's a real tricky element of it. Like, and if it was in Ballybuffet, I'd have no doubt about it. I'd be banking on Harps, but just the fact that it's in Dublin, UCD will probably take a lot of positives from that Rovers game as well, and they'll probably still be full of confidence from this going into this. So, I think I might actually change to the draw here.
Yeah, I didn't send anything in earlier because I knew I was going to be on here. I really wanted you to sway me, but I'm going to go for a draw myself because originally I was kind of leaning towards Harps, but as you just said there, and as we went actually kind of digested the game there, obviously I do actually think I do fancy UCD to get something from this, so I'm going to go.
I can see them winning in my head for some reason. I can actually see them winning this game for some reason. I can I'll be raging if they do now and I've said a draw because I can see it. Like
Yo Maddie comes back.
Yo Maddie against UCD actually. Yeah, of course. It's good. That's a good little narrative actually.
But I'm going to go for a draw here myself.
Draw, yeah. I think it's the safe one, but I think I've a lot of draws this week. I actually can't remember my actual predictions, but a lot of draws, and I think that's just a get out of jail, isn't it? It's a get out of jail. It's picking the draw. Like it's a I don't know. I think I'm gonna go for a draw. I think I agree. I'll stick by the draw here. I'm not gonna pull up the other lads. I can't find them, so I'm just gonna leave the other lads. But proper shithouse 1-0 Harps and 3-1 to Harps is Ush Bosh. Ush Bosh back in the boys. I think you're traveling up actually, aren't you, Ush, to the game?
He's on the
Good
bus,
few
I
Harps
think.
fans
I
making
saw
the
he's on the
journey. Yeah, I
bus.
saw that. Yeah, fair play. What's the jersey? It's a retro Shells jersey. Nice little buzz off it, like lovely little jersey.
It's very nice, to be fair.
Arrived the day before the season kicked off, and I thought it's going to be a good luck omen, but it wasn't in the end, unfortunately. We'll move on. St. Pat's playing host to Sligo. This could be a very interesting game. Obviously, Sligo haven't played yet this season, and the game against Bows was postponed. So St. Pat's playing host to them. I can only really see one winner here myself. I'm going for a home win.
Obviously, last year I kind of had a nice kind of relationship with Sligo myself, but I think I'm gonna go for a Pats win myself here. Obviously, they've lost a lot of key players. Not really sure on the replacements because we haven't seen them. We don't know.
Yeah.
But I think after seeing Pats, I think I'd be a very, very silly man to go against the Pats win at home at Richmond.
Yeah. I think it's not a no-brainer necessarily, but it is definitely very, very likely to go Pat's way. I think they're look very, very strong this season, and as you said, Sligo, it won't be an easy game. Definitely not. Liam Buckley set up Sligo really well. They'll be tough to beat, but I think a Pat's win is the shout there. Another massive game, especially for Shelbourne here, for my boys after last week's disappointing results. I think they have to try and get something from this game. It's a massive game. These are the games that are going to decide whether they're kind of 8th or 9th batting it flat, or whether they're going to be kind of 6th or 7th. Doesn't sound like a huge difference between the two, but it is so significant. And I think this is the type of game that they need to be getting a result from. I'm backing the away win here. I think we're going to bounce back, but I'm not sure if my bias is kind of clouding my judgment here a little bit, but I'm backing the away win.
You know, last week I backed your boys and they've seriously let me down. So I'm going to go. I'm hoping to get up to the game. Now, tickets are only on sale at the door because, I don't know. Can't really get into it, I presume. But they obviously don't want Dublin, the Shells fans buying home end tickets. I'm hoping to go up to Drogheda to see the game. But I'm going to go for a draw here. I'm going to go for a draw. Obviously, I've seen Shelbourne last week. Haven't seen Drogheda now. I'd say it's going to be very tight. I'd say it could be 1. It could be 1, or it could be 0-0. It could swing either way, really. But I'm going to go for a draw here.
Yeah. No, I think it's definitely. I think draw is probably. I think will be the most popular kind of prediction for this game. But I think I'll have to back the Shells here. I think we're going to bounce back.
There's a nice narrative here, actually. There's a lot of the former Shells lads. Dale Rooney. There's a few others.
Yeah, Georgie
playing
Point
against
and
their
Ryan
former team. So yeah,
that'd be interesting, 100%, and they'll have a point to prove. Actually, that's a factor. Yeah, that's a huge factor. But yeah, Shells will run away with that. Comfortable win. A massive game against two sides you'd potentially expect to be challenging for the title this season. Obviously, Derry City playing host to Shamrock Rovers. Derry City off the back of that 2-2 draw. Shamrock Rovers off the back of the 3-0 win. This is a tough game to predict, especially in Derry. I think if it was in Dublin, you'd be comfortable enough going with the home win, but this is a tricky one. What do you think for this one?
I'm gonna go. Derry have let me down the first week, so I'm gonna go for a Rovers away win here.
Yeah. Fair.
I just think Rovers are just a solid team. Like they'll always give a good performance, but like that, it's because their levels are so high. Like they rarely drop. I think it's gonna be a Shamrock Rovers win. Yeah,
I think part of me wants to agree with you, but I think I'm going to back a draw. I think Derry could just have enough to make a difficult night for Rovers. I think Rovers are so good. It's going to be a tough night for Derry to compete, but I think Derry will nick a point here, and I think both sides won't be overly displeased. I think Rovers wouldn't be. I don't think they probably wouldn't take a draw, but they won't be overly disappointed with a draw either. I think it's not a bad result at all. Not many teams are going to get away from Derry this season with an awful lot of points. I don't think so. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for a draw in that one personally. Hopefully we get to see the likes of Michael Duffy, etc. Playing in that game. A massive game this weekend at Dalymount Park, of course, as Bohemians play host to Dundalk. Another one tough to predict. Obviously, Bows haven't played yet this season as well, so that's going to be a tricky one. I'm going to go. I've kind of said before, and I'll stand by this. I don't expect Bows to do well this season. I don't. I think they'll be in the bottom half this season, or maybe fifth. I don't expect them to be really that great. I think obviously lost a couple of huge players. So this will be a really, really interesting kind of way. We'll get to know where they are. It's hard to know as well with all the new loan signings how good they are. We don't really know yet. So that's another one we have to kind of wait and see. But I think we're going to go for the draw. I think those players be buzzing. Daily meant to be buzzing. I think they'll nick a point here.
Yeah, I was originally going to go for a Dundalk away win. As I don't really fancy Bows this season, especially without Georgie. I think that's just going to be a massive. Like a lot of the goals kind of came from Georgie. I know, like Ali Coote, and they obviously have Bert and everything like that. But I think especially because Dundalk played last week, and they've played obviously in the cup the game against Drogheda. So they've kind of they've had tough games like coming into this. So I do think that could be a key factor in. I was going to go for a Dundalk win, but I don't know. Then the fans, you know what I mean?
I know. Yeah, they'll be buzzing.
Daily Mount will be rocking as well. But I think it could be a draw. I really like.
So hard, isn't it?
It's especially just because Bows haven't played now, but I have seen them in pre-season, and I did not. They weren't great. I know. they just did not impress me at all. But they always
Dundalk better than Glebe North. That's what you have to ask yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for a away win.
huge.
Going for an away win here.
Love it. I love that.
Penciled it in.
Yeah. I think actually a couple of times for a Bows win there and a couple of draws. I think a draw probably might be the safe shout there, but I hate going for draws. That's so boring. But it is the safe one, and I need to get some points on the board after last week. We'll move on to our Irish players abroad segment. Good few players to look at tonight. We'll start off with Jake O'Brien. We're actually going to be talking about a couple of good few centre backs in a row here. I think our future at centre back is really bright, isn't it? It's like so many good young talented players coming through. You kind of forget about the likes of Nathan Collins even coming through at Burnley, doing well there. So many talented youngsters coming through, especially in the centre back area. But we'll start off Jake O'Brien, obviously. Went from Cork City initially to Crystal Palace, has signed on loan for Swindon Town in League Two. But I thought we'd give him a quick shout out on the show because he's got 10 League Two games in a row played, and he's kept 3 clean sheets in a row. So he's doing really, really well there, and he's put in some really good performances at the heart of Swindon's defence.
Yeah, no, it's good to see an Irish lad go over and kind of be doing well at it on loan, because the likes of like Conor Masterson, the young lads who went over before, have kind of unfortunately kind of fallen off the face of the earth really after with their parent clubs. But it's good. It is good to see Jake O'Brien kind of putting in solid performances. There seems to be a good core, small core of Irish players. Obviously with Killian Phillips at gone over to Palace, so. When Jake does kind of go back there, I'd say it'll be good for them and building their confidence and kind of hoping to progress from the under 23s then into Palace's first team. And Vieira won't be shy to play a young lad if they're ready for their chance or their opportunity. So it's good to see. It's good to see Jake doing well.
100%, because it is tough. People say League Two and stuff, but it's tough. Like, you get physical strikers now. You get awful pricks and up top playing and be stamping on your toes. You're getting great experience there. Like, you get awful fellas playing up front in that league, like really tough, like handfuls. And it's nearly sometimes easier to play the Championship and the stuff like that. Kind of get then like League One, League Two as a youngster, because it's more technical in the Championship. Maybe then there is obviously you still have your shithouse strikers, but in League One and League Two it's full of them, and it's really hard to play against these players, and it's a real test of a young player's kind of character. And he seems to be doing really, really well. He's kind of a strong physical lad anyway, so I'm sure he has no problems, and he's obviously technically good as well, which is obviously a huge boost for him as well. So yeah, he seems to be really standing out in League Two, and I'm not overly surprised by it. Maybe end of the season they might reevaluate it, get a League One or a Championship side, might take a chance on him, and then obviously just progress up. He's only 20-21, so he still has a long way to go. I always feel like centre backs as well you kind of get to your mid-20s before you kind of start really feeling your whole body and properly get hitting that kind of prime age really. So there's more kind of time, I feel like, on your side. As a centre half, you can go a bit longer as well, I think, at the end of your career and stuff. But another centre half I have to look at is I think I'm saying this right, Eiran Cashin. Obviously, Derby County's story has been well documented this season. Obviously, the financial troubles they've had. Wayne Rooney's done a really, really good job there to get them in any sort of a position to have to fight to stay up in the championship. This is a player that's only recently kind of burst onto the scene. 20-year-old centre back, made his debut. Got man of the match, I think, on his debut. Played a second game for them last night as well, and seems to be doing well for Derby. And it's great to see an Irish lad doing well. It's obviously along with Festi Abiselli as well at Derby. Little Jason Knight, a bit of an Irish contingent there as well.
Yeah. It's obviously, given Derby's kind of situation, they don't really have much choice to kind of look for the youth players. So it is kind of a good avenue for the Irish lads to kind of get a run of games. And what a story that would be if the Irish lads could help Derby stay in the championship. That would be unbelievable.
Absolutely. It'd be insane. We kind of mentioned him earlier on, actually, and we'll touch on him again here. Conor Coventry. Obviously, he's been in. I think he's got called up to the Ireland senior squad once before, and done really well at the under 21 level. And he's starting to make a real breakthrough at MK Dons. MK Dons actually third in League One. They're looking for promotion. He's really standing out in the centre of the park for them. He's been tearing it up. I think he got into the League One team of the week. Super assist he got. If you want to have a check it out, I think it's all over Twitter and stuff. The MK Dons admin was absolutely raving about Conor Coventry, and it's great to have that option in midfield, isn't it?
Yeah, it's. I've always said I've watched him come through the under 21s, and he is kind of hailed as the next Declan Rice at West Ham. So it is a bit of a worry for myself that you go all the way through the ranks and kind of do what the Snake did. Unfortunately, like I actually kind of hoped to get to the MK and Charlton game during the week, but obviously ended up elsewhere. Coventry's always been a solid player. Like he was captain at under 21 level. He's been around ages. Like he's been at West Ham. Like he's been on the radar a long, like multiple years now. So it's good to see him kind of getting out. Once he plays for Ireland, I'll be happy. You know what I mean? Then I'll be happy and I'll give him his praise then. But
I think he's fairly sure. Like I'm fairly sure he's Irish. Like I'm pretty sure he's come out and said it and all, but I suppose you can never be too sure. But I'm fairly sure. I'm pretty confident with him. Move on to Dublin-born Justin Ferizaj, I think how you say it. He is a 17-year-old Shamrock Rovers midfielder, and he recently started a trial with Hamburg, and there's also interest in him from Fiorentina, the Serie A giants as well. So good to see kind of players taking this avenue of not necessarily going to UK. Obviously, Brexit playing a big part in that, but good to see kind of players going to the continent. Seems to be working out well for them so far.
Absolutely, yeah. And obviously, if he does join Inter, he'll be with Kevin Zeffy and all that. Who's actually, I don't know if he's even on the segment here, but there was a thing I seen on Twitter that he's been training with the first team, which is absolutely
Kevin Zeffy, outrageous, like scandalous.
Oh man, it is definitely it's nice to see Irish players not kind of going elsewhere other than the Premier League and realizing that there are other leagues and there are other ways to kind of grow other than it's not the be all of end all going to the UK clubs.
100%, yeah. And this fella seems like a really, really good talent. And yeah, we've covered a couple of. I think we're coming into. I'm about to do a whole video on this because I think there's a golden generation coming here. I'm not gonna lie, I think there's a golden generation coming. We will touch on Adam Idah quickly as well. Cruel blow for him. He's out for the season now. He's only after getting a really good run of games there at Norwich as well in the Premier League. Kind of his first kind of spell of getting Premier League games in a row. It's a real blow for Norwich as well, and for Adam and from Norwich perspective as well. It's a huge blow.
Yeah, it's a massive blow really because he was just kind of getting into a stride as well. He was kind of getting more minutes as the season went on. It's disappointing as well because he was kind of our Premier League striker, you know what I mean, leading the line for the country. And I don't really know where Kenny's going to go now. He's already going to go back to Conley, or is he going to go to he could play Parrott, but Parrott's been kind of playing more on the wing for MK Dons, kind of as a right winger. So that it's I don't know. Like Adam Idah did the job well for Ireland. Obviously,
can I offer you a solution? At 727 days after his last Premier League goal, Shane Long finally scored a Premier League goal against Everton. Can he still offer Ireland anything? Can he be the player to play the front as Adam Moyes is injured, or he passed it? Or he passed it?
I love Shane Long. He's given me some of my best nights in the Aviva Stadium. Obviously, the Germany goal was a bit of a standout one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you're killing me here. I like Shane Long, but I think the legs could be a bit gone. I think there's obviously younger lads like Michael Obafemi coming through the ranks. I think Evan Ferguson, I don't know. Could he go on loan, get a few more games under his belt, or is he going to stick out at Brighton?
Yeah.
Thank God I'm not a manager, because there's a few headaches for Kenny anyway, I think.
For sure. I think the fact it's for kind of friendlies and Nations League and stuff as well, definitely look towards young players. There's no need to be kind of bringing Shane Long back for them. If it was qualifiers, it might be a different story. But I think Nations League and friendlies, I think I'm happy enough to give the young lads a chance.
Yeah, no, I agree. Especially as you just said there, there's serious talent coming through. There's like a whole pool of talent, really.
Yeah.
So he must be doing something right at the grassroots and kind of all the way up.
100%. Yeah, I think we'll leave it there. Can we hit 50 likes on the stream, guys? That would be much appreciated. As Liam was saying, we're going to obviously try to get to a game this weekend. I'm not sure, we might try and get some sort of content out around that. We'll have Liam will probably have some sort of prediction thing up on Instagram and Twitter, some posts up on the next, it'll probably be tomorrow or something like that, hopefully.
Yeah.
And we might have some content over the weekend as well. So you make sure to stay tuned. Be back with the live show hopefully next Wednesday, back to normal, at 7:00. So we really appreciate you all tuning in, Liam. Been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, lads. Enjoyed that.
Hopefully we'll be joined by some of the other lads and potentially even a guest next week. So we'll see how that plays out. But guys, thanks a million for tuning in. Much appreciated, and we'll see you next week.